Let's bring in Greg Stoker, former U.S. Army Ranger with a background in human intelligence collection, now a geopolitical analyst with MintPress News. You're joining us from Austin. Thank you for your time today. So given that you're an analyst and a former fighter, we wanted your take, your analysis on the last 3 days of news coming out of Lebanon, the pager attacks, the walkie-talkie attacks, and now the reaction from Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah.
Thank you. And first of all, the pager attacks was a very surprising and unprecedented operation, detonating hundreds of handsets, both pagers and in the second wave at funerals, ICOM radios, in indiscriminate places throughout the streets, markets, is by any Western definition could be considered an act of terrorism. There was no command and control or accountability of who had the radios and where they were at the time. So first of all, after getting over the initial shock, I think the main intelligence coup was that Hezbollah had these in their possession for at least 5 months, and both of these devices were compromised through different mechanisms and channels. Now, first of all, a lot of misinformation was coming out that was made through like DDoS attacks, like basically overloading the lithium battery so that it exploded. Most likely, there was a small strip of petin, which is when mixed with a plastic accelerant, turns it into a plastic explosive. It's highly unstable. A spark can set it off. An electrical charge can set it off, and heat can set it off. So somehow they managed to compromise all of these communication equipment that Hezbollah used, and has really degraded their command and control apparatus, their general communications, and it's highly embarrassing. However, I don't see how it changes the overall security situation in the north.
Okay, that's interesting then, because I was actually going to jump in with exactly that observation. The attack, tactically, is a victory. There's no other way to look at it for Israel against Hezbollah. But it's in service of what strategy?
Well, there are some theories floating around. The tagline that's going around is "use it or lose it." It was about the operation, the intelligence operation that Israel had conducted was about to be compromised, so they essentially clacked it off so that it would have a devastating effect. It would be most effective if used to begin during an IDF push, because they want to roll Hezbollah up to the Litani River to give them space enough for the displaced residents in northern Israel to go back to their homes. It didn't happen at the beginning of the invasion, which would have sown a massive amounts of confusion amongst Hezbollah, and they are losing time to exploit this attack. So every day that Hezbollah has to reorient their communications infrastructure, they're going to recover. So the fact that Israel hasn't made a move, I think this is typical of what they do with a flashy operation. They do a massive information push to back it up, to make it seem like a bigger victory than it is, because from a strategic sense, this is a flagging war. The Israeli army is used to fighting short, violent wars that last a few weeks, a month, and this is a war of attrition. They're struggling to deal with it, and it requires heavy information operations support. So this is the main benefit as it stands now of this operation, because on October 7th, the myths that Israel has used to keep itself safe, from the myth of it being the world's only democracy to the myth of it being the most powerful military and intelligence organization in the region, was shattered. And so they are trying to regain that deterrence capacity to deter people. Okay. I don't think they'll be able to do it, but this operation will definitely be exploited in order to regain that image of a competent intelligence and dangerous intelligence apparatus.
Greg Stoker, former U.S. Army Ranger, now with MintPress News. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.